Elena sat in a dimly lit room, the blue light of her monitor reflecting off tired eyes as she refreshed her Upwork feed for the 10th time today. At 32, she was an expert video editor, yet she was trapped in a race to the bottom, competing for $20 an hour gigs against global low-cost labor. The digital economy felt like a treadmill that was speeding up while her bank account stayed stubbornly flat, barely covering her basic monthly overhead. She followed the standard SEO daily habits of top-rated freelancers. She had a clean profile, glowing reviews, and a high job success score, yet something was fundamentally broken. The great freelance trap is real. It's when you possess high-level technical skills but sell them as a commodity in a marketplace designed for volume, not value. One rainy Tuesday, while editing a generic corporate testimonial for a pittance, she stumbled upon a quote by Naval Ravikant: "Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your genuine curiosity." Elena realized her specific knowledge wasn't just hitting cut on a timeline. It was her innate ability to weave emotional narratives that moved people to tears. She decided to stop being a video editor and started the process of rebranding herself, moving away from the crowded middle-class marketplaces. The transition wasn't about learning a new software, it was about shifting her psychological state from a task taker to a solution provider for the ultra-wealthy. She identified a unique gap in the market. Ultra-high net worth families have immense wealth, but often lack a cohesive way to preserve their family history and values. Elena birthed a new identity, the legacy documentarian, a title that commanded respect, exclusivity, and a price tag that reflected the weight of forever. Instead of charging by the hour, she began charging for the transformation, the bridge between a grandparent's fading memory and a grandchild's future inspiration. This is the value-based pricing model, often discussed in books like The Win Without Pitching Manifesto, where the expert dictates the terms of engagement. Elena's first high-ticket pivot didn't happen on a job board. It happened through strategic networking and positioning her brand where the billionaires actually spend their time. She learned that for a billionaire, $15,000 is a rounding error, but the preservation of their family's founding story is absolutely priceless. Success in this niche requires a master mindset. It's about understanding that your self-worth is not tied to your hourly rate, but to the size of the problem you solve. She began researching the habits of the 0.1%, realizing they value privacy, discretion, and high-level craftsmanship over speed and low cost. Her daily routine shifted. Instead of bidding on 50 low-quality jobs, she spent her mornings studying the art of cinematic storytelling and high-end brand aesthetics. She embraced the 80-20 rule of investing her time. 80% of her future income would come from just 20% of her highest quality clients. Elena's brand, Fenora Finance, became a beacon for those who wanted their life's work translated into a cinematic masterpiece that would outlive them. The psychological barrier was her biggest hurdle. She had to stop feeling guilty about asking for a 5-figure deposit before even opening her laptop. To reach this level, you must master the art of the pivot. You take the exact same tools, Premiere Pro, After Effects, and apply them to a much more expensive problem. Think about a bottle of water. In a supermarket, it's 50 cents. In a desert, it's worth a kingdom. Elena moved herself into the emotional desert of the wealthy. She started creating spec ads for non-existent legacy projects, showcasing a dark, cinematic, and deeply personal aesthetic that screamed premium. Her first legacy client was a retired tech founder who wanted to document his journey from a garage startup to a global IPO for his newborn daughter. As she sat in his private library, Elena realized she wasn't just an editor anymore. She was a curator of a man's soul and a family's history. The project took her 3 weeks. At her old Upwork rate, she would have earned maybe $800. For this, she received a check for $15,000. This is the power of the high-ticket skill pivot. It's the ultimate leverage, getting paid more for doing the work you actually love at a higher standard. Elena began implementing compound interest, not just in her savings, but in her reputation. One billionaire referral led to 3 more within the same social circle. She realized that marketing to the wealthy is different. It's not about buy now buttons. It's about invitation-only experiences and building deep, lasting trust. In the world of high-ticket services, your vibe is your resume. Elena curated a professional presence that felt like a luxury concierge service. She studied the emotional storytelling techniques of Pixar and the visual language of high-end fashion brands to elevate her output beyond freelance quality. A key investing habit she adopted was reinvesting in the craft. She spent her first big check on a high-end color grading suite to ensure her visuals were world-class. The legacy documentarian isn't just a job title, it's a philosophy that recognizes that everyone has a story worth telling, but only some can afford the best teller. Elena's story proves that the ghost business model works. She doesn't need 1 million followers. She only needs 10 high-value clients a year to live like a queen. She stopped looking at her peers as competition and started looking at them as potential subcontractors for the lower-level tasks of her massive projects. By scaling her micro assets, her templates, her color presets, and her unique storytelling framework, she began to work less while earning significantly more. The emotional weight of her work gave her a sense of purpose that $20 Upwork gigs never could. She was creating artifacts that would be watched a century from now. Every morning, she practiced a gratitude and growth ritual, visualizing the impact of her narratives on the families she served. Elena had successfully transitioned from a digital commodity to a digital artisan, a journey that began with a single courageous decision to pivot. The first thing Elena realized was that billionaires don't look for freelancers, they look for specialists who understand the value of time. To a high net worth individual, a $15,000 investment is a shortcut to a result they've wanted for years, but didn't know how to execute. She stopped using platforms like Upwork and Fiverr entirely, as the algorithm there favors the cheapest and fastest, which killed her brand's perceived value. She adopted the high-ticket SEO daily habit of curating her LinkedIn and Instagram to look like a premium gallery rather than a job seeker's resume. In the world of luxury, less is more. Her website had only 3 pages: the mission, the portfolio, and the private consultation link. She learned the invisible marketing strategy, getting featured in niche newsletters that the wealthy read, like family office journals or private jet magazines. Elena started focusing on emotional ROI. If her video could heal a rift between a father and son, what is that worth in dollars? She began using financial storytelling techniques to explain her prices, showing how a legacy film preserves the human capital of a family empire. In the book The Millionaire Fastlane, M.J. DeMarco talks about the law of affection. The more lives you affect in scale or magnitude, the wealthier you become. Elena wasn't affecting millions of people, but she was affecting a few people with massive magnitude, providing a service that was irreplaceable. Her technical workflow changed too. She stopped doing the grunt work and started using AI tools to handle the transcription and initial rough cuts. By automating the low-value parts of video editing, she freed up her mental energy to focus on the high-level creative direction and client relationships. This is the essence of a ghost business. You are the brain of the operation, while your digital ghosts, AI and automation, do the heavy lifting. She developed a legacy framework, a 10-step process that she would walk every billionaire family through to extract their most precious stories. This framework wasn't just a creative tool, it was a sales tool. It showed the client that she had a proven, professional system for success. She invested in investing habits that supported her lifestyle, putting 30% of her high-ticket fees directly into dividend-paying assets to build a floor of safety. The emotional storytelling she practiced involved asking the legacy question. What is the one lesson you want your family to remember 100 years from now? When a client answers that question, the price of the video becomes irrelevant. They are no longer buying a file, they are buying an eternal legacy. Elena began to show examples of her work in private, password-protected galleries, adding an air of exclusivity and black label service. She noticed that high-ticket clients never asked for unlimited revisions. They trusted her expertise because she positioned herself as the ultimate authority. To maintain this authority, she practiced radical professionalism, always being 5 minutes early to Zoom calls and sending beautifully designed progress reports. She realized that in the $15,000 plus range, you aren't just selling a video, you are selling the feeling of being taken care of by a world-class expert. This pivot required her to master quiet luxury aesthetics. No loud colors, no desperate sales pitches, just calm, confident, and competent delivery. She started asset flipping her own time. By outsourcing the color grading to a specialist for $500, she could focus on landing another $15K client. Elena's daily habits included deep work sessions, as described by Cal Newport, where she would disconnect from the world to focus on one family's narrative. She understood that the billionaire class values focus. If they sense you're juggling 50 small clients, they will lose trust in your ability to handle their legacy. Her pivot was a master prompt for her life, reprogramming her environment, her circle, and her self-image to match the reality she wanted to live. She began to study family dynamics to better understand the internal politics of the wealthy families she was documenting. This allowed her to act as a neutral family historian, a role that made her an indispensable part of their inner circle for the duration of the project. She used AI image generators to create style boards for her clients, allowing them to visualize the cinematic look of their film before a single frame was shot. This reduced client anxiety and made the high-ticket price point feel like a safe, well-researched investment rather than a gamble. Elena's motivation talk to herself every morning was, "I am not an editor, I am a guardian of history. My work is a gift to the future." She learned to handle no with grace. In the high-ticket world, a no usually just means not right now, or I need more trust. She started a digital garden, a private repository of stories and wisdom she collected from her clients, which she used to sharpen her own life philosophy. Investing in her health became a priority. She knew that to perform at a $15,000 level, her brain needed to be in peak condition every single day. She used compound storytelling, layering music, sound effects, and visuals so perfectly that the final product felt like a big-budget Hollywood movie. The SEO phrases she used in her LinkedIn bio were carefully chosen: legacy media strategist, private historian, and high net worth narrative architect. These keywords attracted the right eyes: wealth managers, estate lawyers, and family office directors who could refer them to their top-tier clients. Elena had moved from the red ocean of freelance competition into the blue ocean of uncontested market space, as taught in Blue Ocean Strategy. Her life was no longer about the hustle, it was about the craft. The pivot was complete, but the journey of mastery was just beginning. With her foundation set, Elena turned her attention to the architecture of awe. High-ticket clients don't just want a video, they want to be moved by their own story. She began every project with a legacy audit, a deep-dive interview process designed to uncover the emotional turning points of a client's life. She used the hero's journey framework, popularized by Joseph Campbell, to structure these billionaire narratives into timeless myths. By positioning the client as the hero and their business challenges as dragons, she transformed dry corporate history into an epic saga. Elena realized that wealth is quiet, but legacy is loud. Her job was to give a voice to the silent achievements of the world's most successful people. She integrated SEO phrases into her client pitches like generational wealth transfer and intergenerational communication, speaking the language of family offices. A daily habit she developed was visual fasting, staying away from cheap social media content to keep her aesthetic standards exceptionally high. She understood the investing habit of the wealthy. They don't spend money, they allocate capital toward assets that appreciate. She framed her videos as an appreciating emotional asset. Elena started using psychological anchoring. Before revealing her $15,000 price, she would discuss the multi-million-dollar impact of passing down family values correctly. Compared to $1 million mistake in a family's succession plan, a $15,000 documentary feels like an absolute bargain. She mastered the art of the interview, learning how to sit in silence until the client felt compelled to share their most vulnerable, authentic truths. This emotional vulnerability is the secret sauce of high-ticket content. It's something a $20 an hour editor on Upwork simply doesn't have the time to extract. To scale her ghost business, she created a proprietary prompt library, a set of AI instructions that could generate cinematic B-roll concepts in seconds. She used AI to de-age old family photos, bringing deceased ancestors back to life in high definition, a service that left her clients speechless. This is the calm tech approach, using cutting-edge AI to create something that feels deeply human, warm, and traditional. She adopted the margin over volume philosophy. One project a month allowed her to give each family the white glove treatment they expected. Elena often quoted Steve Jobs, "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." Her videos worked to unify families. She began asset flipping her unused footage. With client permission, she turned generic success aesthetics into stock footage she could sell elsewhere. Her motivation talk shifted toward legacy thinking, making decisions today that her future self and her clients' future descendants would be proud of. She reached the halfway point of her transformation, realizing she had effectively deleted the middleman between her talent and the world's capital. Elena started implementing sound architecture. She hired professional composers to create original themes for each family, adding another layer of exclusivity. The sound of a $15,000 video is different. It's not stock music. It's a custom-scored emotional journey that hits every beat of the narrative perfectly. She learned to sell the whole, not the drill. She didn't talk about resolution or frame rates. She talked about the tears in a daughter's eyes on her wedding day. By focusing on the end result, she bypassed the technical comparisons that trap most freelancers in low-paying loops. She used digital scarcity by telling potential clients she only took on 6 legacy projects per year, creating an immediate fear of missing out, or FOMO. This wasn't a marketing trick, it was a physical reality. To produce work at this level, she literally couldn't do more than 6. Her investing habit now included social capital. She spent money to attend high-end charity galas where her target clients were the primary donors. She realized that in high-ticket sales, proximity is power. Being in the same room as a billionaire is 90% of the sales process. Elena began to use narrative therapy techniques to help her clients process their life achievements as she interviewed them. She wasn't just a filmmaker anymore. She was a narrative architect, a title that carried significant weight in the world of high-level consulting. She used AI to generate historical context segments, automatically finding news headlines and stock clips from the year a client's business was founded. This automation allowed her to deliver a Hollywood-level documentary with a team of only 2 people, maximizing her profit margins. She followed the billionaire daily habit of radical health, prioritizing sleep and sunlight to maintain the high-frequency energy needed for these meetings. Elena's brand, Fenora Finance, was now synonymous with discreet excellence. She never posted client work without explicit written permission. This level of privacy is a luxury feature in an era where everyone is constantly chasing social media clout and viral moments. She taught herself asset protection for her digital work, using encrypted drives and private servers to ensure her clients' data was safer than a bank vault. The emotional storytelling reached a peak when she produced a film for a dying matriarch, capturing her final words for her great-grandchildren. In that moment, Elena knew she would never go back to $20 an hour work. The value she provided was immeasurable, and the fulfillment was total. She started a legacy newsletter for wealth managers, providing them with tips on how to talk to their clients about the importance of storytelling. Elena had built a moat around her business, a combination of high-tech skills, deep emotional intelligence, and elite-level positioning. As Elena's reputation grew, she encountered the success paradox. The more you are in demand, the less time you have to actually create. To solve this, she mastered the ghost workflow, where she remained the creative director but delegated the technical heavy lifting to a specialized invisible team. She realized that billionaires don't pay for your labor, they pay for your taste. Your taste is the filter that decides what stays and what goes. She adopted the daily habit of aesthetic curation, spending 1 hour every morning looking at high-end cinematography, architecture, and classical art. This kept her visual vocabulary sharp, allowing her to communicate complex emotional ideas to her team with surgical precision. She began using AI to create emotional storyboards, generating 100 variations of a scene's mood before her team even opened their editing software. This AI-first approach reduced her production time by 60% without sacrificing a single ounce of the cinematic quality her clients expected. Elena's investing habits also evolved. She began investing in relationships, hosting small, private dinners for estate lawyers and luxury lifestyle managers. These dinners were not sales pitches. They were trust-building ecosystems, where she positioned herself as a peer to the advisors of the wealthy. She learned the language of the ultra-wealthy. Words like stewardship, providence, and continuity replaced freelance jargon like turnaround time. In his book, Perennial Seller, Ryan Holiday talks about creating work that lasts for decades. This became Elena's North Star for every frame she edited. She started offering legacy maintenance subscriptions, a $2,000 annual fee to keep the family's digital archives updated and secure. This created recurring high-ticket revenue, a financial safety net that allowed her to be even more selective with the new projects she accepted. Elena practiced strategic disappearance. She would go offline for 2 weeks during a project's deep edit phase, signaling that her work required total immersion. This scarcity of her attention actually increased her value. In the world of billionaires, if you are always available, you are not important. She used financial storytelling to explain her retirement plan. Her business wasn't just a job, it was a digital asset she was building to sell or pass down. By creating a standard operating procedure, SOP, for her storytelling, she turned her unique talent into a repeatable, high-value system. She started using voice AI to narrate her initial script drafts, allowing her to hear the rhythm of the story before hiring a professional voice actor. This iterative process ensured that the final script was ear-tested for maximum emotional impact and narrative flow. Elena's motivation talk focused on the concept of impact magnitude. I am not just making videos, I am preventing the erasure of a family's soul. She began asset flipping her knowledge by creating a high-end workshop for other top-tier creatives looking to make the same $15,000 pivot. This was the education layer of her business, helping others escape the Upwork trap while further cementing her status as the industry authority. She emphasized SEO for the soul, choosing projects that aligned with her personal values so that work never felt like a grind. Her daily habits included digital minimalist practices. Her phone was on Do Not Disturb by default, and she only checked email twice a day. This protected her creative capital, the most valuable asset in a high-ticket business. A distracted mind cannot create masterpieces.
She used AI to style transfer her clients' old home movies, giving 1980s VHS tapes the look and feel of 35mm film shot in the 1950s. The emotional payoff for the clients was immense. She was literally rewriting their visual history into something more beautiful and legendary. Elena realized that the high-ticket pivot is 20% technical skill and 80% psychology, how you perceive yourself and how you command the room. She started a private mastermind for the heirs of her clients, teaching them how to use digital storytelling to manage their own public personas. This deepened her moat even further. She wasn't just the family's documentarian, she was now a brand strategist for the next generation.
She followed the wealth habit of buying back her time. She hired a private chef and a housekeeper so her non-working hours were for true recovery. A rested creator is a dangerous creator. Her ideas became sharper, her edits more ruthless, and her client satisfaction scores soared to 100%. Elena used narrative anchoring during her final screenings, hosting them in private cinemas or the client's own home theater with professional catering. The screening event became a ritual. It wasn't just a file delivery, it was a sacred family milestone that justified the $15,000 price tag. She began investing in AI infrastructure, buying private servers to run her custom-trained legacy models without relying on public cloud services. This privacy-first tech stack was a massive selling point for her billionaire clients who were terrified of data leaks or AI hallucinations. Elena's story became a case study in value innovation, taking an existing skill and applying it to a market where the value is 100x higher. She often reminded herself, the price is only an issue in the absence of value. She made the value of legacy undeniable. Her ghost business was now a self-sustaining machine. Referrals flowed in, her team executed the vision, and she spent her days dreaming in cinema. The girl who was once happy to get $20 on Upwork was now a titan of the legacy industry, all because she dared to pivot. In the final stage of her journey, Elena focused on technological immortality. She wanted to ensure her films could be played on devices not yet invented. She began archiving her master files on M-Disk technology, a permanent storage medium designed to last 1,000 years without data degradation. This millennial storage became a key part of her high-ticket pitch. I don't just make a movie for your children, I make it for your great-grandchildren's grandchildren. She adopted the daily habit of future-proofing, spending 30 minutes a day researching emerging display technologies like volumetric holograms and neural link visuals. Elena realized that true luxury is timelessness. While the rest of the world chased 15-second TikTok trends, she was building 100-year artifacts. She used AI to contextualize the future, creating a personalized digital time capsule for each family that would unlock on a specific date decades from now. This feature alone added another $5,000 to her project fee, as it provided a temporal hook that intrigued her visionary clients. Her investing habit now centered on generational assets. She stopped looking at short-term stock gains and started buying land and rare collectibles that her family would never sell. She practiced the Stoic creator mindset, as taught by Marcus Aurelius, remaining emotionally detached from fame and focused purely on the quality of her contribution. Elena started a philanthropic branch of Finora Finance, documenting the stories of community leaders and unsung heroes for free to balance her high-ticket commercial work. This soul-balancing work kept her grounded and reminded her that every story has value, regardless of the subject's net worth. She used her SEO expertise to create private search engines for family offices, allowing them to search through their own family history with natural language. Hey, AI, show me all the times Grandpa spoke about the importance of resilience, became a reality for her clients, turning a video into a living database of wisdom. Elena's motivation talk was now a manifesto.
We are the first generation in history with the tools to never be forgotten. Use them wisely. She began asset flipping her lifestyle by moving to a country with a high quality of life and lower tax burden, effectively giving herself a 30% raise without doing more work.
This is the geo-arbitrage strategy mentioned in the 4-hour workweek, allowing her to live like a billionaire while only earning a high 6-figure income. She automated her client acquisition through a private referral portal where existing clients could nominate one friend a year for her services. This by-referral-only model meant she never had to sell again. The trust was transferred from the friend to the prospect before the first call. Elena utilized biohacking for her team, providing them with light therapy lamps and ergonomic workstations to ensure they never burnt out. Her ghost business was now a symphony of high-tech efficiency and high-touch human connection. It was a masterpiece in itself. She started writing a book titled The High-Ticket Pivot, documenting her exact psychological and technical steps to help other creatives find their billionaire niche. This book served as her ultimate lead magnet, attracting even higher-level opportunities, such as speaking engagements at wealth management conferences. She practiced asset protection for her mental health, taking a digital Sabbath every Saturday where no screens were allowed in her home. This silence allowed her to hear the quiet voice of intuition, which guided her most ambitious creative decisions. Elena used AI to analyze emotional resonance in her final cuts, using software that tracks eye movement and micro-expressions to see where viewers felt the most impact. This data-driven approach to storytelling ensured that her $15,000 videos were mathematically and emotionally optimized for the target audience. She realized that the pivot isn't a one-time event, it's a state of being. You must constantly iterate your value proposition as the world changes. She began investing in the next pivot, studying the intersection of AI, biotech, and personal branding to see where the next high-ticket opportunity would lie. Elena's daily habit included mentorship, spending 1 hour a week guiding a younger freelancer through the mental traps she had once fallen into. She understood that true wealth is what you give away, and her legacy would be the people she helped empower. The Fenora finance brand became a global standard for excellence in private media, a long way from the struggling freelancer tag she once wore. She used narrative compounding. The more high-quality stories she told, the easier it became to tell the next one even better. Her financial storytelling reached its peak when she helped a family foundation raise $50 million using a 10-minute vision film she produced. The ROI for that client was astronomical, proving once again that a high-ticket price is just a reflection of the massive value delivered. Elena looked at her old Upwork profile one last time before hitting the delete account button. It felt like shedding an old, tight skin. She was no longer Elena the video editor. She was Elena the legacy architect, a title she had earned through courage, strategy, and relentless quality. The high-ticket skill pivot is available to anyone with a specialized skill and the guts to say no to the average so they can say yes to the exceptional. It's about moving from the marketplace of labor to the marketplace of meaning. That is where the real wealth and the real joy is found. As the sun set over her studio, Elena opened a new project file, not because she had to, but because she couldn't imagine doing anything else. Your story is waiting to be unfolded. The question is, are you ready to pivot?